Now, at least 200,000 senior high school students in Ghana considered taking their own lives in the past 12 months. That's a staggering statistic coming to light this morning on the AM show as the world marked World Suicide Prevention Day. There's more to learn about suicide and the damage it is causing to society. But first, what will drive a person to attempt to end it all? Here is CARINE SILVEIRA, who attempted suicide in the past.
It started in 2009. That was somewhere in after I had completed senior secondary school.
Okay.
So that process was a thought because I wasn't comfortable in my skin. Then it went on to me being sexually abused by someone I trusted as a friend who I knew and who dragged me. And I saw the person coming on to me, but I was too weak to fight it off. Now, after that experience, when I got home, I was like in the shower for almost 2 hours. Nobody could find, like nobody knew. My brother was around, my mom was around, my dad was around, but they didn't know what was happening. So I was like, I'm gonna end it. I'm done. Like there's nothing. And funny enough, the next day I have work. And the next day I went to work like nothing happened. And when I got to work, I broke down. I couldn't do anything. So I had to go to my HR and go like, see, boss, this is what has happened. I can't do this right now. I can't concentrate. I need time off and I can't be here. So all through, he said, okay, he understood and I left. But I don't think they understand, because at the end of the day, they needed me at work at a particular period in time. Say you said this, and they'll give you like 3 days, go and think about it.
But did you tell him exactly what he had gone through?
Yeah, I actually said it.
Why were you comfortable telling him, but you didn't tell family?
No, the thing was, at that point, when it happened, and I'm like, you know, I'm the type who is not, who can bounce back from anything.
Okay.
So I thought, oh, okay, now I can bounce back and later go through the process of the pain and go through whatever went through.
So are you the independent kind?
Yes.
Okay.
I am.
Because I can relate.
I am. So I thought I could just bounce back and be okay. So then I got to work. So in the car going to work, I felt like it was coming. The darkness was just clouded. So in the car, something said, jump out of the car. You get it? The voice said, jump out. This is the end. Just finish up with it. But then I was able to get to work. When I got to work, before I even got down from the car, I'm like, CARINE, you can do this. Let's go. So I got to work and I was there and I'm like, oh, no, I can't. So luckily the HR I spoke to was a female. So, and I had known her for years because I've been working there for a period of time. So I called her and I told her, I can't do this. And she kept asking me, what is wrong? And it took time for me to even break what had happened to her because she didn't get it. So I finally confided in her. I said, this was what had happened. I need to leave ASAP. And on my way home, it was still like that. I'm like, okay. So at a point, I got down at the car at the beach area. Okay. I'm like, okay, so this is it. What are we going to do? Do you jump? Do you do this? Then another silent voice came in. CARINE, no, don't, please. At least just go home and say something to somebody. I go home, normal, like, I keep to myself. I'm a kind of a reserved type. So when I go home, everybody thought everything was normal. But they didn't know that was the day I was about to. Nobody knew. I saw my brother, I saw my mom, I saw my dad. And funny enough, I was giving, I give a hint like, I am not fine, I'm not okay. And when you say that, my brother knows me to be somebody who speaks to people, who encourages people, motivates people. So sometimes when I talk to him, he says, you're a motivator, that kind of a thing. So he can't identify with what I'm going through because he thinks I'm stronger than it. So even when I told him, not today, I'm not fine. He said, I'm a motivator like you, but that is more what I need at that period. So I went to my room I wrote a letter down. And
Do you remember what you said?
yeah, that letter I'm talking about today, a friend of mine he kept that note. And he sent it to me like 4 years after, because he saved me.
Wow.
He came, I think everybody had gone to work by then. He came, and when he came, he was like, I was wrong. And he's the type, we don't talk often, but he can sense when I'm not okay. He called 1, 2, 3, he didn't get through to me, he just came. So when he came, the letter was there, the knife was there, the concoction was there. And when he came, he just grabbed me. He said, "Carine, no." So at that point, he was even confused. He didn't even know what to do. I remember he called his sister, and this person I'm talking about is Bamidele Stevens, Abeku Stevens. Wherever you are, I say thank you, because you are part of the reasons of my life today. He was like, "You're not going to do it."
So this is just a friend who had tried to reach you.
Yeah.
Who couldn't get through.
And he came.
And decided, let me just follow up.
And see where CARINE is. So...
And that's the moment where you had written...
Oh, the letter...
Essentially like your last words.
Yeah, that was my last words. And at this point, probably my family watching doesn't know about it.
Who were you speaking to in that letter? Who were you hoping would read it?
My family. Mostly, that's my stronghold. I'm not a social butterfly, so I don't really have a lot of friends. Yes, so...
But what were you telling them in that letter?
In that letter, I was like, I wish I could explain it better for you to understand, but I can't. And I'm sorry I'm doing this. I love you so much, and you know I love you. I need you to... And I was like, I told my brother, Nath, take care of mommy and dad. You know I love you, but I need to go. Yeah. And my brother never got to see this letter we are talking about. He doesn't even know about it. And that would have been like the last day I would have seen everybody. And I wouldn't be this woman I am here today. Yes, like 4 years or 5 years down the line talking to you in this seat. I wouldn't be the woman I am today, and I am I am thankful. Again, Bamidele Abeku Stevens, Auntie Boydiwa, Auntie Mimi, Shati, Frida Jenfra, Samuel Kelly Brew. Now, these are people who never gave up.
That's a very touching story there. These are people who never gave up. Who are you giving up on, and who do you think needs help around you? What is your own short story? You can share with us on 054-0109-009. But unfortunately, many other Ghanaians have come to the brink of suicide for various reasons. So joining us via Zoom is Dr. Ernest DARKWAH, a psychologist and health promotion expert at the University of Ghana. Hi, Doc. Thank you for your time. Good afternoon.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having me.
So the issue about suicide, I mean, I don't know if we have come to terms yet as a country, how prevalent it is, but help us with a mental picture. How serious and widespread would you say it is?
Well, I think the information has been put up this morning already, and you also repeated some of it, that as much as 200,000 or as many as 200,000 of our young people in senior high schools thought about taking their own lives. If you pay attention to the press release that was brought out today by the Ghana Psychological Association, you'll find out that suicide is a huge problem across the globe, but also a very, very big problem here in Ghana, mostly because our situation is exacerbated by non-reportage or non-reporting of suicide. So not many people come forward to report or to even talk about their ideas or their intentions to commit suicide. So the data we have doesn't even paint the complete picture of what's happening. So we have about 1 in 10 adults in rural communities that have thought about taking on their own lives. And if you look, I can't give the specifics of the data right now, but if you look at it generally, you see that the most at-risk people in this country are young people, young adults between the ages of 15 to 38 years old, and also elderly people. And often it's understandable because these are points in life where people are often confronted with a lot of critical activities or critical events that they have to navigate through.
And are there any prevalent or recurring reasons why people decide to take their own lives based on the statistics available?
Yes, of course. The statistics and the research that are available to us show us that, yes, there are recurrent reasons, or there are certain common reasons or precursors to suicidal ideation and suicidal commission. So, but it also depends on the age group that you're talking about. So if you listen to the lady that whose video you just showed,
yeah,
her case occurred right after senior high school. It started right after senior high school, right? And when people are within that age group, there are certain critical events that occur in their lives, and there are certain expectations that society has of them. So when they feel like they have failed to meet these expectations, it can push them to want to end their own lives, or to think that they are worthless, and also they are not that nobody wants them in this life. So, for example, we know that when people face traumatic situations, these kind of traumatic situations can actually make them vulnerable, or can actually elevate the risk of suicide among such people. And these traumatic situations may include, for example, a breakup in a relationship, let's say a divorce or separation. It can also be a failure, examination failure, and it can also be legal cases or loss of job, or some kind of significant negative event that has occurred in the person's life. And believe you me, especially my concern is more with the young people, because if you look at some of the reasons that the research has shown why young people, adolescents especially, want to engage in self-harm or take their own lives, some of them may look quite trivial to you, but to us it's quite interesting. Somebody has thought of taking their own lives because they see their friends on Facebook all the time having fun, and they have been told to stay home by their parents.
Yeah.
Okay. And also, I have dealt with a young person before who wanted to take her own life because one of her dormitory mates told her that she looks like a boy, and she said she stood in the front of a mirror and she looked at her body and she couldn't compare herself. She couldn't see the other things that the other girls had on their bodies, on her body. So she thought she wasn't girl enough and she had to end it. So the reasons are wide and varied, but it all comes down to the fact that parents and caregivers, significant caregivers, are now going to have to pay increasing attention to what goes on in the lives of these young people, because like what the lady said, and I really very much empathize with her, and I've seen a lot of young people who have been in that situation. The thing is going on with her, and the parents or the immediate family know nothing about it. So they look at this person, they live with this person, they pay for the person, they think they are parenting, they are doing everything for you. But what's going on with this young person, the family has no idea. So in this lady's case, thank God she had a friend who actually followed up to check on her, because the family would have been around whilst their child is dying. And this is happening. A lot of children in senior high schools do not feel they can talk to their parents. The parental atmosphere, the home atmosphere does not give them that opportunity. So if they don't have anyone to talk to, they take their lives.
Do you feel like there is something about the African Ghanaian culture that somehow pushes, young people into even considering something like this?
Absolutely. I mean, there is something about every culture that actually exposes its people to things like this. So in our particular culture, there are certain things that happen in our parenting, in our relationships, in our social interactions and in our cultural expectations of our people that can expose such a person or that make a person want to take their lives. So, for example, if you look at the young people, the kind of things that they are exposed to online, especially with online activity on social media and all the other information content that they source from online, there are things that their parents would not appreciate or would not like seeing them engage themselves in. So, for example, you've got young people who want to be a makeup artists because they've watched the YouTube and they've seen Kim Kardashian or somebody doing makeup and all those kinds of things. And their parents want this child to be a medical doctor, a lawyer, or something. And this child wants to be a makeup artist. You know, so that kind of thing can bring a conflict and can make the child withdraw from communicating with the parents. Also, if you move it up a little bit on the age group, you find a lot of young men and young women. And if you look at the GPA press release that came out, one of the reasons we stated in there was that especially for men, there are traditional expectations of masculinity. And when certain men feel like they fall short of those expectations, they feel like ending it all because they don't want to face the stigma and they don't want to also be seen as failures in their community. So if a man is like 30 years old and jobless and still living with their parents, you will find a lot of their friends teasing them, laughing at them, or something like that. If a woman is within that age group and is not married or doesn't have a child or has lost maybe 2-3 marriages, has gone into 3 marriages and all are broken up, the person becomes some kind of stigmatized. And this is what brings ideas of, oh, I'm not worth it. I'm not lucky in this life. This is not for me. And they want to take their own lives. Yes.
Let's take some advice as we wrap up this conversation. In this day and age, things are very different from when we were growing up. Things were very different from when our parents were growing up, but we have to think, you know, to live. So I'm wondering, what kind of advice would you give parents who have the very daunting task of taking care of the millennials or youth of today or younger people? What do they do?
Well, I would like to begin this advice from maybe giving this advice to the nation first before going to the young people. So, for example, if you look at the context in which Ghana finds itself or has found itself within this year, we have gone from one crisis to another, and all these things raise the risk level of psychological distress, which can culminate in suicide. So, for example, we began with banking crisis, and then we zoomed straight into COVID crisis. And just when we are managing to get a hold over the COVID crisis, we have an election coming up, and things are heating up. So the atmosphere in this country is heating up. The anxiety levels are rising, and we need to be vigilant. Now, the advice that I'll give to parents and other young people is that if you listen to this lady's story, there's an advice in there for you. She was saved by a friend. Yeah. It tells all of us that every one of us is a potential life saver or it's a potential savior. If we pay close attention to our friends, our loved ones, we are likely to spot signs that may help us be able to prevent this thing from happening. So, for example, thankfully, when people are suicidal, they show certain signs, and the red flags are often there for us to see. When you talk to them and you listen to their conversations, and you begin to hear things like, I'm even tired of this life. I feel death will be better. When I die, it will all be over. That kind of thing, you know, and I don't fit in, I'm worthless, these kinds of things. And when you also observe that this person has suddenly withdrawn, has suddenly become quiet, and the things that used to excite this person is no more exciting to this person, okay? Or sometimes people show sadness. You ask them, sometimes they can even cry. You ask them what's wrong with them, and they themselves can't tell you why they're crying. These are signs. So let us all be vigilant. And please, wherever you find yourself, whatever situation you find yourself in, I am speaking to you. The Ghana Psychological Association is ready to help. We have psychologists that are available. These days, Ghana is lucky. We have a lot of psychologists around. We have numbers around. You can call, you can reach out for help. A problem shared is a problem solved. So please, parents, please open your eyes, engage your children in conversations, and friends, please watch out for friends. We are a society together, and we need to help save each other's life.
I'm so grateful, Doc, for your time this afternoon, and I hope that this actually helps somebody and it reaches out to, you know, just take somebody off that very fatal decision this afternoon. I've been talking to Dr. ERNEST DARKWAH. He's a psychologist also with the University of Ghana. He says there's help available. If you feel, you know, like the whole world is on top of you, there is help available. Is there a way to access that help, by the way, Doc, before I let you go? Maybe like a telephone number. I think you're muted. Like a telephone number or a platform, a social media platform where people can reach out for that kind of help.
You can just access the Facebook page of the Ghana Psychological Association.
Okay.
We've got contact lines all over the place on our Facebook site, and you can reach out to any of those. You can use those contacts and reach out and look for help. You need to see a psychologist, just like you see a medical doctor or a physician if you had malaria. Please talk to us.
Okay. So he says you can find them, Ghana Psychological Association. You can find them everywhere on social media. Do get in touch if you need help. Doc, thank you so much for your time.